All right. Well, hi everybody. Today we are talking about using callback, and we're talking about how to use it effectively. We're going to talk about why it's helpful, how to use it to your best advantage, and we're going to do this in 15 minutes or less. So, let's get to it. That's me. My name's Jason Gleaner. I'm one of the trainer guys here at Inch House. We are recording this webinar, and you'll get a link afterward in case you want to share it. And I want to make you aware of a couple upcoming courses that we have. One is the next webinar in this particular series, and that is going to be on August 9th. The other is our next Communication Center Administration course being held in Boston, and that's going to happen in August. I hope that you can make both of those. Okay, so what is callback?
You can request an automatic callback, which enables you to leave a message that will retain your position in the queue. We will call you back once your callback has reached the front of the queue. If you wish to request a callback, you may press the star key at any time during these delay announcements.
So callback it's really just an option you can offer to callers that allows them to leave their number in a short message so they get to hang up and they get to go about their day until an agent of yours becomes available. Callback comes in two different flavors. One is to offer the callback to your callers while they are on hold. That's probably the most common. The other is to offer callback to callers when you're closed, so you can call them back the next time that you happen to be open. What are some of the benefits of using callback? Well, studies show that callback can help lower abandonment rates by about 32%. Now, I'd say my own experience with it tells me that, 32% is probably possible. But even if it were a quarter of that, what would it be worth to lower your abandoned calls by, say, 8%? I still think it's hugely valuable. It's certainly an improved customer experience. You mean I don't have to wait on hold? I can go about my day and you'll call me when you're ready to? Yeah, sign me up. You bet. Now, it can even help even out your peaks and valleys of your hourly call volume, which when talking about your service level, it's a huge bonus. However, there is a downside to doing this, and I'll bring that up later in this webinar. Now, hopefully you'll lose fewer leads, and there's a few others as well. There's shorter talk times. Callers who hold for a long time get angry, and it takes time just talking them off of the ledge. Not only do you minimize that talk time through callback, but because callers can leave you a message, your agents now know something about that call, and they can prep for it accordingly, or sometimes even transfer it to a subject matter expert if it's necessary. And you can lower your toll-free rates in the process. Okay, on the next couple slides, I've got a quiz. Actually, I've got a couple quiz questions for you, so let me set them up. The line you see here represents a caller's hold time. This is when they landed in the queue, and this is how long that they've been waiting on hold for. So, do you offer callback early in that process, basically a few seconds after they've been on hold? Or should you wait to offer callback until they've been on hold for a few minutes? Do you offer it early or late? And Nicole, I think that's probably enough. Thank you. Most of you chose early. Some of you chose late. We'll get to the actual, what I think is the right answer in a bit. But here's the second quiz question. Let's change it up just a little bit. Ignore how long they've been on hold for and simply look at the caller's position in queue. Do you offer callback to the first couple people on hold, or do you wait until they are a little deeper in line? So, do you offer callback to callers in early position or in late position? Okay, about 36% says early, another 65% says late. That's cool. Let's kind of go through it just a little bit. First, let's talk about some of the problems that you're dealing with. If you offer the callback early, when somebody just got into the queue, your agent may become available sooner than the caller can leave you the callback. Now you're just adding wait time and you're adding a return phone call. So there's some dangers of adding it early. But then again, if you wait too long to offer it, your callers may abandon. Now, if you offer callback to callers in early position, you're offering it to people who probably don't have to wait long anyways. You're going to get to them soon. It's probably self-evident that we want to offer it to callers in late position because, well, those are the very people we want to save from abandoning. So how do we answer the 2 quiz questions? Well, it's actually a little bit of both. I would offer the callback early in the process, but only to late position callers. If your contact center is busy and I call you, I may immediately be the 5th in line or the 50th in line, whatever. Why would you make me wait a few minutes to offer me the callback? I'm going to be holding for 10 minutes anyway, so why not offer it immediately? But only to the 5th caller or greater, or the 50th caller, whatever. Kind of depends on the size of your contact center. So let me show you how you do that. Well, you want to start in your progress announcements. These are the announcements that callers hear while they are on hold. It's a thank you for holding. You're 5th in line. A disinterested agent will be with you soon. And you do that from underneath the announce group, under progress, and then under the actual progress group here. And then you're going to be editing each of your individual intros. You want to edit each and every one of them. And from that intro in your progress announcement, you want to turn on allow callback. So allow callback, it means that as soon as your first progress announcement plays, it will potentially offer the callback option. Same with the second, same with the third, and any others that you happen to add on. Now, from that point, you're going to go back and switch to the queue, and you're going to edit the callback tab. From there, you want to set the minimum position to 5 or 50, whatever. You choose the caller position where you think there is danger of them abandoning because you can't get to them soon enough. And basically that's it. It's the 2 things. You set the progress announcements to play basically immediately and offer callback right away. And then you choose the minimum position that you want to allow people to leave you callbacks. Easy. While we're looking at this image, it makes me think of a cool little tip though. Have you ever hit 5 p.m. only to realize you've got like 10 callbacks still waiting in the queue? And, that probably doesn't make your agents very happy. Well, one of the things you can do is you can start limiting your callbacks, say 30 minutes before you close. This way you won't be paying overtime for your agents to answer callbacks long after they should have been gone. It's a pretty easy setting to figure out as well. If you're offering callbacks at night or on weekends, there's a key item you'll need to consider. And that's that your hold times or your callback wait times will be reflected in your reporting. Someone who leaves you a callback at, say, 6 p.m. and has their call returned at 8 a.m. the next day, well, it's going to show a wait time of about 14 hours in your reports. That's, ow. That hurts. That seriously affects your service levels. So what can you do about that? Well, you can build a second queue just to store your nighttime callbacks. If you notice in this picture, I've got a sales queue, and then I've got a sales callback queue as well. Then once you have that second queue, you'll go back to the original queue, and you're going to look at the night mode in that queue. And you're going to edit that night mode so that if a call comes in at night, it immediately transfers to the new callback queue. Now, your wait times will calculate in that second queue, and you just won't hold those against your own service level. But at this point, we need to do a little bit of thinking. If you've got callbacks waiting overnight, and you also have live callers calling in first thing in the morning, who's going to get answered first? If the 2 queues have the same priority in your agent login classes, well, then the callbacks will get answered first because they've been holding the longest. And your live callers, well, they'll wait until all of your callbacks have been taken care of. Oops. So, I have a suggestion for you. Let's say that you have 20 agents taking sales calls. I would probably separate 2 or 3 of those agents. I'd separate them out to focus on the callbacks first thing in the morning, but leave my other agents so they can focus on live callers. Here's what that would look like. Notice I've created an agent login class for sales reps who have a callback focus. I even put that in the name of the agent login class. I set the callback queue, that's the first one in this table, so that it has a higher priority, meaning that These couple agents will handle all of the callbacks before they take any live calls. Once those callbacks from that callback queue, once those are taken care of, they'll take sales calls just like everybody else with no priority or delay. So in essence, you're taking 2 agents, setting them aside to take the callbacks, but you're leaving everybody else to take your live calls. Pretty helpful. Now, can callback be detrimental? Yeah, it can. There's 2 basic ways that it can hurt you. One, callback can be very announcement heavy. They can take up to, say, 2+ minutes for callers to get through the entire process. If you don't have enough voice ports to handle that process, callers may not hear your announcements at all because you've run out of announce ports. And because they can't hear those announcements, it can actually increase your abandonment rate, which sucks. The second thing that can hurt you is some sites actually count on their abandoned calls to keep their call volume manageable for the number of agents that they have. Meaning, look, if they didn't have those abandoned calls, they would be overwhelmed with callers. So when they turn on callback, their abandonment rate goes down, but their callback volume skyrockets, and they can't get to all of the calls waiting in their queues, which then just breaks caller trust and leads to even angrier callers. Suggestion for you, if I were you, I'd customize our standard callback prompts. This is done under the announce group and then under reserved prompts. This way you can have all of your announcements recorded in the same voice. Now in this image, I don't have anything recorded, but I would go and record each and every one of these in the voice of my company. Also, occasionally you'll find that your audience, they're reluctant to try the feature out, often with if you have an older audience. You may need to expand on expand on the default wording and encourage them to press that star key to use the feature itself. When you report on callbacks, you need to know what you're looking at. In this image, I'm running the queue performance report and choosing which calls I want to report on. Notice that the C call type is for when they lodge the callback, and that's basically when the caller got tired of holding and they pressed the star key. Then up above, you have your callback attempts number 1 through 9 and even 9+. And those represent how many times we tried to reach the person after they lodged the callback. Here's what the report would look like if you only ran it on callbacks. And I think we should take a look at this call here. Basically, the caller called in at 8:12 in the morning. They held for about 1 minute and 48 seconds before they got tired and they left us the callback. Now, it looks like after the caller waited for a total of 4 minutes and 41 seconds. I want you to realize that we tried calling them back after a total hold time of 4 minutes and 41 seconds. That's inclusive of the 1:48. So the caller waited for a total of 4 minutes and 41 seconds. Our agent Sandra tried calling them back. She spoke for 55 seconds. I'm going to guess that she just left a voicemail because the after call work time only took 3 seconds and the wrap-up time only took 4. And you'll also find that same person called in again about 6-7 minutes later. They held for 2 minutes and 53 seconds this time, got tired of waiting, lodged a callback, and then only about 40 seconds later, Tina called the person back, spoke for 4 minutes and 19 seconds. We had a significantly longer after-call work time and a slightly longer wrap-up time. Couple do's and don'ts. We're on the home stretch. We're almost done. Do monitor your abandonment rate before and after implementing callback so you can see what effect it has. And while you're at it, why don't you check your customer service scores and see how happy your agents are at the same time. Don't lower the priority of your callbacks and then take live calls first. Why? Well, if you remember from one of our earlier slides, I mentioned that callback can help even out your peaks and valleys. In essence, you can wait to answer those callbacks until your live calls slow down and only then return the calls. But what happens? Those same callers, they get impatient. They call in again. They stay on hold. Eventually, they get answered. And then later in the day, that callback hits your agent, and then you return the call again. This isn't just double the calls. It's actually triple the calls, and it hurts more than it helps. If your callers aren't taking you up on your callback option, you might consider rewording the audio to help encourage them. And lastly, I would run the voice port exception report and see if you're running out of ports, which could seriously be hurting your numbers. For the most part, that is about it. We've spoken about a few things. Nicole, if you want to fire up that last poll. Some of the things we've talked about, they need licensing, or they need enrollment, or you might just need more ports. So if you're interested in the callback license, maybe you don't have it now. If you're interested in more voice ports, or if you're interested in attending our training in Boston next month, please do so now. By the way, in that administration training, we cover all the stuff in the 15-minute webinar series. We just cover it more in depth. We use real-world examples from your businesses, and we work through your problems within class. It's pretty cool. Those are upcoming courses. If you want our previous recorded webinars, they can be found on this link. They can also be found behind our learning management system, the Learning Center. And we are done. This one went long. Dang, it's the first one that's gone over that 15 minutes significantly. I hope you got something useful out of this. You can hit me up with questions using the contact information here.